You know what's going on. I know we've been gone for a minute. We're just trying to get our work schedules and shit figured out like that.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you.
What?
I don't think these niggas even care.
Okay, let's go over here being.
And where the content at?
Oh my goodness gracious. Why are you over here at a bad start to the episode?
Look, it was either me or Charles if he was here.
I get it. As you see, we're missing our other man, Charles. We was trying to link up with him yesterday, and apparently now he's in Florida enjoying whatever he's doing. I don't know. But, you know, we ain't got as much time as we're trying to record as quickly as possible. So, welcome to the... This is bullshit. I'm so tired. Welcome to the This is Bullshit podcast. I'm your host, Rae, along with...
I'm Dra.
Alright, and the topic we're talking about today, I think you said we're talking about our perspectives or stories with cults.
Like, close situations that you almost got into a cult. Because we had stories about this. Either almost got into a cult or pretty much was in a cult.
Okay, well, do you want to go first with that one, or you want me to shoot off?
I can go ahead and go.
Alright,
so I'm going to start off because I have two significant ones. Number one, wasn't really exactly like a cult, but they were just like a bit weird. So this is around my freshman year of college. I remember like I was walking out one night and about to head to the cafeteria to grab something to eat. This random dude come to me and just like, hey, you trying to start a Bible study or trying to like join a Bible study with me? Now, anybody that's ever had something like that happen with them, you already know this should already be like some kind of red flag, or at least proceed with caution in this kind of situation.
yeah.
Me, as a naive 18, 19-year-old.
Wait, you was that young? I thought you was like 20 or something.
I didn't turn 20 until like late freshman.
Damn. Well, I mean, you are older than me by a year, so yeah, it's fine. But continue.
All right. Me being 19, didn't think much of it. I was just like, and especially me coming from a Christian home, I was just like, oh, okay, like Bible study for sure, why not? So I was like, okay, sure, I'll go ahead and join. And so this church group, like we started meeting up every now and then, and they were just talking about like what it means to be a disciple of God, and the many different things that it came that would not come with that, and then finally steps that you'll be able to take, and basically explaining on that not many different people will end up making it through the gates of heaven, and it'll be only like a select few and stuff like that. So a couple other things that struck as a red flag for me. Number one, so I remember like one day when we were meeting for like a church group. I mean, me and Mia for one of our Bible studies, that Warren wanted me to attend church with them that Sunday. And the problem with that is I already made a commitment to another church group that I met also earlier that semester. And they were having like some kind of, I think it was like a Popeye's chicken Sunday, whatever they could send me. I just know they had like a whole bunch of chicken over.
Was it because everybody's black?
Surprisingly, no.
Really?
Surprisingly, no. I just know they had a whole bunch of chicken on that Sunday.
They just trying to get you to eat them dry ass biscuits, then I guess.
They have a lot of them though.
Where?
I take that back. They probably did. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyways, so I already told her, I was like, yeah, I'll come back. And I already made the commitment to them first. So I spoke to the other church group. they're like, hey, like, I'm sorry, I can't make it this Sunday, and I can't make it to their church this Sunday. I have to make it. I already spoke to the other church group, and I already made a commitment to them. And you can tell that they felt some sort of way about that.
Oh.
Now, the fact that they felt some sort of way about me going to a different church
was a red flag.
That's a red flag for me. Number two, I'm not sure like how much, maybe it was like a week or so later. No, you know what? Actually, I think it was that same week. Yeah, it was that same week. I remember one of them came up to me and was just like, hey, can you at least like come to our apartment and we can hang out? I'm like,
that's you just invited me to your apartment like that?
Right. Might I add, I just met these people like what, a couple weeks ago?
I mean, some people just, I will admit, some people just think, oh, like they're cool. I don't know, but you know, you could be a serial killer for all we know, and they just gonna invite you over. Like
personally, to me, I haven't really met anybody like that.
Yeah.
Like for most people, it's just kind of like it takes us like no while before you just invite somebody like to your spot, whatever the case may be. Plus, you know, I remember at the time, and even now, I don't have my car on campus, so I'm literally depending on them to arrive to their apartment and back. For all I know, anything can happen with these people. So, yeah, that's red flag number 2. Red flag number 3, shortly before the Thanksgiving break, or, yeah, I think it was either the Monday or the Tuesday. It was a Tuesday. I went to my evening class, and I remember my mom was just like, okay, like, whenever you get up, just go ahead and, like, grab your stuff so that you can come back over on this side of town. Yeah. And just, like, be over here for Thanksgiving. And I was just like, okay, cool. So, went to my class, got out, and the group was just like, hey, so I know you trying to get back home. You trying to have one more Bible study before we leave? I was just like, no.
Why are they so persistent? And how they know you was? Wait, did you tell them you were going home? Or?
Yeah, I told them.
I was like, it's kind of creepy if they knew you were going home.
And no, if they just automatically knew I was going home, that's crazy. That's crazy.
They said, we know everything. Little
they were just like, and so you try to have one more Bible study? I was like, yeah, no, because my mom is already here. Just like, it will be real quick, just please. I was just like, no, where we even finna meet? And they were just like, oh, the pizza shop by down the street. And I was just like, that's a bit of a walk.
Always off campus?
It's not like off campus, but it's not definitely like on
the campus property.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that. So it's on campus, but it's like off campus at the same time.
So basically near campus.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically not like near like the library and like the dorms and the classrooms.
Oh, okay.
Basically.
It's on the further side.
Yeah. But it's still near the campus. They basically wanted to meet at that pizza shop. And the problem with that was just like, look, where this pizza shop is at and where my dorm is at and where my mom is right now
is nowhere.
That's a bit of a walk.
Mm.
Not a significant walk, but that's a bit of a walk. So I'm not finna have that happen. And they were just like, you can definitely tell they just were not taking no for an answer. And even at one point, they were just like, hey, see, you just trying to meet up at like a middle point during the Thanksgiving break. I'm just like, where
why would
exactly?
I do that?
Like, they were just like, somewhere in the middle. I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, wouldn't you be here during Thanksgiving though?
Exactly. They're just trying to like meet in between like where
they were down atrociously too. They said we have to meet with this nigga Dre. We have to get him in there.
I don't. Finally, at one point, I just saw him. I was like, "Hey, can we take a break from like this whole Bible study kind of thing for right now?" And they're just like, "Okay, like sure." I don't think they ever got back with me. Honestly, and I was just like, okay, like I left that alone. Never spoke to him since. That's a lie. I did spoke to him. I think it was like that summer because I remember taking a summer class actually like on campus. So I remember being there like one afternoon. I think it was after my class, I went to the student center because I wanted to grab some lunch because way my schedule basically was just like I'll go to class, take the train back over to this side of town, then get dressed so I can go to work because I was still working at the summer camp that I'm actually working out right now. Funny how this story, funny how things change, but still the same.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, so went ahead. I was on myself. I was like, okay, I'm just grab something from Chick-fil-A, and then like made my way to like the train that I'm supposed to be at. So went to the student center, and one of the dudes that was one of the main guy that was like speaking to me, he was also there. He was just like, hey, I was like, shit.
Like, why did he identify me? Could have confused me for another black dude, but he just had to know it was me.
I was like, why did this happen? I was like, hey. He was just like, so I know things didn't happen the way we wanted to last time, but if you're trying to get this Bible study back up again, let me know about that. I was like, sure, I'll let you know. I'm gonna get time back to you later.
Damn, well, you're not gonna get back to him.
Fast. I was like, I told myself, I was like, I'll get back to you later. In my head, never. So
that's terrible.
That's not that happened.
Absolutely.
That was just the first time. Second time was actually this past semester. So second story. This all started when I was at the student center. I might start avoiding that, honestly, that damn center at this point.
But isn't that like a main place on campus, though?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, then how you gonna avoid it? I'm pretty sure you gotta go there.
That's pretty much where all these stories be happening. So look, common denominator.
You better wear something big and cover you up to where no one can identify you, so you can just walk through there.
So a ski mask.
Okay, not a ski mask. You like you about to rob the place and then they gonna shoot your ass.
You want me to play a Playboy Cardi?
Is that what you want me to do? We don't want to play. Well, he puts on freaking makeup too, so I don't want you putting on a Playboy Cardi. Because I don't need to hear some vamp anthem at U of H. I don't want to hear that.
But stop breathing.
No, we don't. No.
Okay, so anyways, I was at the student center and like this one dude, I just put it down to he happened to be Asian. Notice how I said happened to be Asian. Not trying to start stereotypes here. Okay. So it was him and some other dude. He was just like, hey, you trying to start a Bible study together? And I was like,
wait, is this the same group or a different group?
It was a completely different group.
Okay.
So I was just like, me thinking like, okay, this doesn't seem like the same group as last time. So I was just like a bit open to it. Initially, I said no. And then he was just like, okay, can I at least go over like something with you real quick? And it was just like, okay, sure. So he went over it with me. And I guess that was his way of loopholing my way in. And he was just like, okay, so I'll see you next week. I was like, wait.
Damn, like I said no, but I was interested in what it. I mean, they got your ass. That's what I'll say.
Okay, so I guess I'm seeing this man next week. So for the next couple weeks, I was just seeing this dude about like his version of like the Bible, and it was something like initially started with like God the Mother.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
So I'm pretty sure like if any of y'all heard about that, or maybe like those type of people around your campus, and you know what I'm talking about, it was like God the Mother, and then they also talked about like the Passover and all like this other stuff. Basically talking about how church is supposed to be like the Passover Sabbath day is supposed to be on a Saturday instead of a Sunday, which debatable. I guess depending on what church you go to.
Yeah.
I guess also like they talk about how the Passover is supposed to be like your only way of truly receiving like the body of Christ or whatever. Which I guess you can argue that's kind of true because they also say like the Lord's Supper is the bread of life and the cup of blessing.
Oh yeah, like that.
So it's basically like the same.
Okay.
Concept.
I'm not gonna lie, I was starting to fade out when you was talking about that. I was
You
like-
look at me like, nigga, what is this man talking about? So like me not thinking much of it. Now initially I already knew as soon as he mentioned God the Mother, I was like, okay, I'm definitely not believing this. But like I
you
definitely
still-
like entertained the thought of it mainly because like I don't know.
you can be entertaining.
Not even entertaining, I just want to be like just interesting to like hear like the Bible and like Christianity from like different perspectives because other people have like their own different interpretations.
I know, but everybody who's a Christian, it doesn't mean you have to be a Christian watching this, but like everyone who's a Christian knows that God is a man.
Facts.
Cause best believe I never heard nobody say, yeah, God probably, is breastfeeding Jesus or something. Like, no, God is a man, and I'm pretty. Oh, I mean, as far as we know, what we've heard, because I know if people be like, well, maybe God is a woman, and then Ariana Grande.
I was about to
God is a
mention,
woman, so
Ariana
let's
Grande
just
would
say
like a word
we
with
don't
you.
know God is in His own superior, and we are all the way down here, so we don't know what he, she, all the other pronouns out there is. But yeah, so I'll let you continue with
There we
that.
go. So he also went on to talk about how Easter and Thanksgiving and Christmas and all this was this like, I don't want to say it was created by like the devil, but like he made it seem like it was created by like Romans who were trying to like destroy what Christianity was truly about and all of that. And what made it a red flag, or not really one of the things, it wasn't really like a couple red flags, it was like one significant event that happened. So I remember I was chilling on campus and another group of like dudes would just come up to me and just like, hey, like, you want to start like a Bible study, whatever the case may be, same exact intro and all that. Now I just saw him like, no, and it was just like, well, okay, can we tell you what it is about? I was just like, okay, sure.
But see, you were very, very lenient. I would have just been like, nah, nigga, I got homework
Well,
to do.
I did that this time because like I had a slight suspicion because the other dude that came up to me also
Said the
had
same
like
thing.
not even that. He did that and he also had like a shoulder bag with him that had like the Bible and a journal.
Oh, okay.
inside
I
the
was
shoulder
like,
bag.
shoulder bag. I was like,
And
he
this
probably
dude-
got the Glock or something. He talking about, you want to hear what I gotta say, little nigga? It's like,
If you pull on in the name of Jesus.
yeah, so I don't know. I was just...
Pull it with the holy stick.
No! The whole, really?
The holy
holy stick.
Is that the
Okay.
name of the podcast?
I guess it is the holy stick. What
The
the?
holy stick.
So you really on some pull up with a stick and let it hit type stuff? Cause ain't no way.
You brought it up. I just brought up the shoulder bag.
I
You were
know,
just
but
like, hey,
I ain't
look.
never heard of a shoulder bag. I've heard of like the little bags around your waist or like
Oh, the fanny pack.
yeah, or like a backpack. But like when
Yeah.
I think of shoulder bag, I think of like a
Like the-
purse.
It was basically like, it wasn't like a purse, but it was like a bag where I was the strap went over your body, and it was like a bag that was like hanging off your side. It was basically one of those bags. The Asian dude I was speaking to, he had that, and the other group of dudes came up to me. One of them also had the exact same bag. I took note of that, and I was just like, okay,
Like they
let me see what this dude is about, and then like I'm gonna try to see if I can make some
put two
correlations.
and two together.
Yeah. So I heard him too about, and the very first thing he mentioned was like, "Have you heard of God the Mother?" And I was just like, "Okay,
I caught you.
I got this nigga. I caught this man." So I thought about. So I let him explain a little bit, and I told him like, "Oh, like another dude came up to me, and he's already been talking to me about the same stuff."
I was like, why didn't you just tell him straight up? Like,
Because I didn't know for sure.
oh, okay.
Like he didn't like mention it 100% until he started.
Okay.
So he was just like, okay, like if you ever want to know more about us, just let me know. And I asked him just out of curiosity, because I remember like the Asian dude mentioned something about like what kind of church that he was going to. I knew he was like from Korea, and then like he was shipped all the way over here for some kind of mission, wherever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked him like, hey, like what kind of church do you guys go to? And that was like the World's Mission Society of Christ, or whatever the case may be. I think that was the whole name of it. And I was just like, okay, let me see if I can look this up. Because this happened like a good 2 to 3 times this semester.
Yeah, and you want to confirm that it's accurate.
Really, like I started vague at first. So I looked up, I was like, hey, like, so I looked it up on Reddit initially. I don't know why, but I was just like, I feel like I want to know like more personal stories directly just based off of there. Very first thing that popped up, I was like, what is up with all this Bible study shit this semester? So I was just like, funny, because I was going through the exact same thing. Like, don't get me wrong, ain't nothing wrong with a little Bible study, you know what I'm saying?
Nothing's wrong with that.
But like, this has been going on significantly this semester.
Yeah.
And like a couple people in there was just like, hey, like, if one of the societies call themselves World Mission Society, or the whole name of it, don't talk to these people, because low key they're actually a cult. And I was just like, okay, yeah. So I researched a little bit more about it just to make sure, because it was just kind of like, okay, like it's just a couple personal anecdotes. I took it with a grain of salt at first. So I researched it a little bit more. I looked on YouTube and I just Googled stuff in general. It's like, hey, is this church a cult? And they were just like, sure enough, it sounded like a cult. And they have been in deep water with a bunch of things. I forgot what they all were. I know I told you all of them at one point. I made like a whole list and I forgot, but it was like some real deep shit. And I think one of them was involved with like trafficking or whatever.
Yeah, you did mention that before.
I don't know. Like it started off, there sounds like accusations, but I'm not 100%
there wasn't any
sure.
proof about it.
Yeah. I don't even know if there's like 100% proof. I just think go on my way to actually search for like actual proof if that part was true or not. But I know like a lot of people did brought that up, that they were somewhat involved in that.
Yeah.
And so like I messaged an Asian dude and I was just like, hey, what church do you happen to go to? And like he just
did not respond.
He's
like, this thing caught on. Gotta get out of here.
And finally I told him, I was like, hey, so do me a favor. Do not message me or request to have these Bible studies with me anymore, because I feel a bit iffy. Well, I lied to him and told him that like I just had a lot going on within like my classes, which technically wasn't a lie because I'm kind of like at the somewhat tail end of my degree plan.
Oh yeah,
in my school, so
having a hard time with your classes. So.
Yeah, so a lot of it is just, a lot of my time is dedicated to my school. So I did like technically completely lie, but like just use that as an excuse. So did that, some time passed, and for the most part didn't hear from him again. Life went on as normal. I remember one night after like Thursday class, I was about to go down to the cafeteria. So I was like, okay, like, let me just go ahead and grab something to eat since I'm on this side of campus. And the dorm that I was at this point in time is like right across from the stadium, but it's kind of a bit of a walk. So since there's a cafeteria right there, I was just like, okay, I'll just grab something from there. And plus, that was pretty much the only thing open at that point in time. So I was about to make my way over there. And like this other dude was just like, hey, excuse me, do you have time to start about
Get your ass on.
I'm telling you, you gotta go. You need to get your ass on.
Yeah, he's like, no, I've no, not for the third time.
What's crazy about that is that the dude that like he was with was the same dude that I was doing Bible studies with. He was just like, oh, hey, Dra. I was like, what the fuck, man? Can I just have peace around here?
Shit, you might start counting a holy stick with you, nigga. Like, hey, I told you in the name of God, stay away from me.
And he told the other dude, it was just like, oh yeah, we used to do Bible study together. So that reminds me, whatever happened to that? I would just say, hey,
yeah,
so
no, you just say, I'm hungry, I gotta go.
Look, listen, like I had classes and stuff like that. You're just like, well, it's around top of finals already, so you shouldn't be that busy. I was like, first of all,
that's the most time. That's the most busiest time
of the school year. Any college student will tell you that. Second of all, I just told this man what was up.
Yeah.
And it was just like, again, just being very persistent. And it was just like, look, listen, it's not happening.
Out, yeah.
Exactly. So eventually he just left them alone, and I just went
as
on
he
about
should, because no one should ever persist on anything.
Exactly.
Unless it's like, you're trying to like push yourself out there, but like business wise, and good thing for you. But yeah, if it's like a cult, no, like, and if you reach out to the same person 3 times and they tell you no, like, it's not gonna happen. If I said no the first 2 times, what makes you think I'm gonna say yes the 3rd time? Unless I'm drunk and I don't know what I'm about to say or something.
And I think I told you about this. I thought myself, very first thing I thought of, I was like, damn, is this how females be feeling whenever a dude's trying to like shoot their shot with them and they say no, and the dude would just not take no for an answer?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's different, but I feel like
there's definitely similarities,
and that's why the girl, starts. I believe, from my experience, would start being with other females. That way, he won't directly approach her, like that. Or maybe start walking with guys that she knows. So then the guy thinks, oh, she has like a boyfriend already. But wow, yeah. I remember like half of your story, but like there are some parts that I was just like, damn. Cause I mine is bad too, cause I could say I was in it, but I didn't know. Okay, I didn't know that it was. So the way my story evolved is they got me when I moved into school, and it didn't help because my family. I mean, he knows my mother and stuff. I don't think you ever met my grandma? I feel like you have. I'm not sure.
During your graduation.
Okay, yeah. So like, my grandma is very out there. She will just let any stranger know that she's a Christian out there, and that can be good for sometimes and bad for sometimes.
Yeah, that's just pros and cons.
So yeah, and she was like wearing a Christian shirt, and then so like we're moving into my dorm, and this one religious group on campus. I'm not gonna say their name, obviously, but they were like, they had spread them, so they're like very big, and so like they spread themselves among every dorm so that they could help students and then also tell themselves about the student. So yeah, so they saw me.
Them type of niggas.
Yeah, they're them type of niggas. So they saw me, was like, oh, blah, 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 let's go help them. So they helped, and then blah blah. And they're wearing their shirts, and they say that they're Christian group. So then my grandma opened her fucking mouth like, oh yeah, my grandson's a Christian too. And then she's like, to pay them back for them helping you, you need to join their group. And I was like, I don't know these people. Like, I guess I owe them some sort of gratitude, and I'm not gonna pay them. They're not like butlers. They didn't have to do it. But like, I'm like, I still don't know these people. But anyway, she exchanged. I think either I did or she did, some of the sort. I think I did, like just because she told me to. So then, and they were cool at first. And we had our own Bible studies and stuff like that. I'd only really went to one, and it was an actual Bible study, like we actually did. But the thing about us is, like, we did mostly social stuff too. So like what we mostly did was we did Ultimate Frisbee, and I liked Ultimate Frisbee at the time. I was very active. So like that. So they're like, hey, let's have Ultimate Frisbee, and it worked out because they played right behind my dorm. Like my dorm has 2 or my dorm I used to live in since I graduated now, has like a bunch of fields, like soccer field and then another field to play sport on. So I was like, bet I'm gonna go out and play ultimate frisbee, and I do that with them. And then occasionally, just cause 9 o'clock at college feels like nothing. Yeah. And if you ain't got an 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. class the next day, if you go to class at 12, like, oh, yeah, I could stay up a little late, have a little late night adventure, maybe till 3 a.m. or something.
Of course.
And then, crash at 4, wake up at 11, probably suffer the consequences like, damn, now I don't want to go to class. So that's what I was going.
That's what makes it worth it, though.
Yeah, that is. So enjoy your college experience. But yeah, so we had my team leader, so to speak. He was in charge of like me and 6 other guys. And we all became very close. But after what happened, like I have no contact with any of the guys that I used to hang out with. But yeah, they just be like, hey, same thing. You want to go on an adventure? We're just like, we're all freshmen, young, dumb, and stupid. So we were like,
hell yeah, we gonna go on an adventure.
Exactly. So one of them was they took us to. It was right after our Bible study. They're like, hey, we're gonna take y'all someplace or whatever, and they're like, it's a surprise, and we're like, okay, cool. So we're driving, and it's like 10 o'clock at night or something, and we're like asking like, and mind you, my camp leader, he has a truck, so like whoever wasn't in the truck was like on the back part of the truck, or whatever. And we're just driving, and we were playing like some sort of road game or something, and then we just asked like, oh, where are we going? And then he's like, oh, we're gonna go to like this haunted place or some shit like that. And we're like, what? And he's like, yeah, this is where we go do like our worship and stuff. I was like, what? And mind you, this haunted place in San Antonio is like shut down. Like you can't go there, blah blah blah. And police, they go in what is the word I'm looking for? They
investigate?
No, not investigate. Like they survey the area or like. I survey is such a bad word, but anyway. So like there's cops there to make sure that you don't get in. And they also have an electric fence as well. So you can't go to the front because the police are there. And if you try to go to the back, you have to somehow get past the electric fence and stuff. So we go down the road, and we technically, the way the road is designed, there's only one road, so you go to technically the front of it, and then there's like a little part where you kind of pass it a little bit, but you're still in the front of it, and then that's where the electric fence is. So we were gonna do that, and he told us, he's like, we do it all the time. We go past the electric fence. It's not even electric. Blah, 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 it doesn't work. And we're just like, how do you know that? They could just decide to turn on the electricity one day, and then you just get zapped. But yeah, so we were just like, whatever. And so then my team leader, I don't know what he was thinking that day, and it didn't help that I was in the passenger seat with him in his truck. So we pull up to that spot, and like I said, like it's still kind of near the front. So then we like pull up to the front. And mind you, like I said, police is there. So there's a cop like looking at us. And this dumbass is like, hey, yo, I want to ask the cop if we can get in. I'm like,
knowing damn well the answer would be no.
Exactly. So we're like, what? And so he's just sitting there, and then the cop gets out of his car. He's still on the property of the haunted thing, and flashes a flashlight. And since I'm in the passenger seat, the first person he sees is me, which that's not a good look. A black man in a place where he's not supposed to be with not the cop.
Not a good look.
Not a good look. No. So, and he's like, "What you doing here?" And I'm like, "I can't see him." And it's so that bright, bro. I don't know what nigga that battery was using. Like that shit was bright as fuck. It was brighter than his light. Like it was crazy. And I was like, oh, shit. And so I'm like, I pointed to him, and the camp leader, he's like, yeah, well, we just want to have like a worship session in the hot place. And police basically was just like, hey, yo, get out of here before I persecute y'all for trespassing. And we're what I'm 8. I just turned 18 at that time, so I'm like, I'm not trying to get in any legal trouble whatsoever. So we all told him, we're like, bro, we're just trying to go. So we go, and like the police, he's like, if y'all don't leave within the next little minutes. We also passed the gas station on the way to the place, and there was 3 other cop cars there. So he's like, I have backup at the gas station. He's like, so if y'all don't leave, I'm gonna call them, and then blah blah. So then he leaves, and then he takes us to like this other place, which is also supposed to be known as a haunted location. I don't remember the name of like the place specifically, but it's supposed to be like a place where children died, and it's like a bridge or something. So if like you ride past the bridge, you'll hear like the screams of the children, whatever.
Nigga, what?
Yeah, I don't know. And it's like you pass the bridge, and then there's like a little forest part that you walk through.
Oh no.
So we passed the bridge, and we didn't hear anything on the bridge, and so we were like, then they're like, oh, let's walk to the forest part, and
of course they did.
Again, we were like, no, but they're adults, so, and there's just teenagers, so they're not gonna listen to us. So like, they get out the car and stuff like that. So we go with them, and basically to sum it up, we caught them making like scary noises. Like there was no haunting thing. They're like, did you hear that? We're like, yo, we just saw you like make a like noise, whatever. So that was one of them. But I didn't think of it. I was like, okay, they're just being stupid. They're just trying to scare us, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Second one is we had they had called me, and they're like, hey, Ray, are you doing anything this weekend? It was like like the first month of school. So, you don't really have homework and stuff to do.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. At least as a freshman. Classes I was in. So I was like, I got nothing to do. They're like, okay, we're gonna have like this Bible, like this conference with a bunch of other Christians and stuff like that. We're gonna invite me and some of the other guys, and it's in Austin, so they said we're gonna drive us up there. And I was like, okay, bet. And then they also mentioned, they're like, hey, there might be a pool, or like we might go to a pool down there, so like bring your swimming trunks and stuff. I was like, bet. That weekend, we all get in this truck, we're heading out there, and mind you, this is like my first semester. So these are the only people that I know.
Mm.
I haven't, and I was kind of antisocial in my dorm, so I didn't really know my RA. I didn't know any other people on my floor. I knew like one other person, but I wasn't close with them. I didn't have the contact info. So these are the only people I know. So in this situation, I was kind of stuck. So we're driving there halfway. And again, we're asking them like, oh, how long we're gonna be? But we're getting closer. So, and at some point, one of our leaders was like, "Oh, so y'all ready to go cliff diving?" We were like, "Cliff diving? What happened to Bible conference?" Yeah, we lied to y'all. We going cliff diving. And we were like, "Ain't no way." We just got tricked out here, and we are in Austin now, so. Ain't no backing out now. So we get to this little it's kind of like the way that the entrance was to the cliffs was like kind of like a resort spa or whatever. Like you have to enter through, and whatever. So we get there, and then there's a whole bunch of different cliffs, and like the one that they typically jump from, we get to, and they're like, hey, yo, the tide looks lower than usual. We can see rocks. And we was like, rocks? And
what
so
you
I
mean?
look over the edge, and that's all I see is just rocks. And then one of them was like, maybe if we jump far enough, we're not going to hit the rocks. I'm like, Nick, we don't have no track athlete kind of jump. We are just regular kids, unless one of us was in track. Like, we are, like, that's not happening. And so they're like, oh, crap. And so we get back in the truck, and then they're supposed to be like, one of the biggest cliffs to jump from. We go to that one. They call it the Goliath or something.
Of course, it'll be called that.
Yeah, and so we go there, and the tide's even lower on that side. So all you see is rocks. Like, the second one, like, it was, like, rocks here, water here, but the Goliath was like rocks, water. So you practically just hitting a straight rock wherever you jump. And so we're just like, hey, like at this point, tide is low everywhere. We might as well just head back and leave. And they're like, nah, there's just one other spot we see because there was like a lot of vehicles driving to this one spot. So then we go to this other spot, this last cliff, and it was like the rock was here, but the water like practically like just covered it, so you couldn't see the rock, but we knew it was there.
There is rock there.
So they're like, okay, this is where we're jumping, and we're like, fuck. And they invited like a bunch of other people. I don't know if they were like specifically from my school or like other part, because this organization I'm talking about, they're at other campuses, like they're at his school and other schools, I think, as well. So I don't know if they invited them from there or it was all just my school. So there's like 40 people or whatever, and we're just watching them all jump and that, and they're all having a good time, and I'm scared shitless because I'm like, I ain't never jumped a cliff before and all that. So my can't believe it's like, and I'm like, I'm like, this is fun and all,
I gotta
but
ask though.
What?
I gotta ask. How many black people was there, including you?
I can't like recall. But
Was there a lot of them?
I think there's probably like 10 of us.
Out of how many?
Out of the 40.
So
but that's because like most of them are camp leaders. Like, and then there's like me. Out of my group, I was the only black guy, but I'm pretty sure there was other like black teens that did it too.
I was saying, I'm pretty sure you ain't see a lot of other black folks be doing this. But.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, so I'm like, oh, this is fun and dandy, but I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not putting myself in this position. Right. And my camp leader is like, nah. He tells all of us, like in our group, he's like, everybody's going, and he's like, we ain't leaving until everybody going. I was like, what you mean? He's like, we're not going back to San Antonio unless everybody jumps. I'm like, ain't no way. You can't be fucking kidding me. And shit like that. So, like, and it pissed me off because right after this happened, someone in my group, he was a lifeguard. So, and he's white. So, no offense, white people do some crazy stuff sometimes. So he basically said his equivalent of a story of him cliff diving, but as a smaller, like not as a like cliff, but like he cliff dived, but like in a smaller cliff or whatever. And he told that story to my leader, and it sounded authentic. I'm not gonna lie. And so he was like, "Oh, so you particularly already cliff dive? You're good. You don't have to." And then so I was like, okay, if he can make that shit up, I can hopefully make my own shit. So I told him, I was like, I'm not no lifeguard. I was like, but yeah, I jumped off of a place before, into water. I told him, I was like, oh yeah, I jumped off a roof into a pool or whatever. So that's kind of like jumping off a cliff or whatever. And he's like, no, Ray, that doesn't count. Blah, blah, blah. You got to jump this shit. And I'm like, and again, we're not leaving. And I can't call no Uber, no Lyft because I'm in Austin, Texas. You know how long that's gonna take to San Antonio? I ain't got nobody I can call at school to come and pick me up. And the scenario is literally just, so I'm like, fuck, I gotta do this. So I was like, okay, if I do this, because some people were just like jumping by themselves. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing it by myself. It got to the point like where people started jumping 2 at a time. So I was like, I'll do it with someone. So they're like, okay, cool. So then I get ready to jump, and like we kind of jumped in like an X way. So someone would jump first, and then it would like, so we kind of crossed back. But we of course didn't want to jump at the same time because we collided midair.
Right.
And they told us, they were like, hey, make sure you pencil it out. And what I mean by that is because if you jump normally, and let's say you kind of slightly like fall backwards, you're gonna fuck up your back, hit in the water. But if also you lean too much forward, all that hits your chest, so you fuck up your chest. Mm-hmm. So they're like, just pencil it out. And I was like, okay. And I'm thinking pencil. But they're also saying, oh yeah, don't be too stiff because, you know, when you hit water, you know, water is a big thing. So you got to make sure you hit it in a way that you flow through. Because, you know, if you hit water strong enough, I'm pretty sure parents already told you this, you'll break your bones.
Right.
So I'm just like, fuck. And then I was with this old man. I never even seen him in my life. He looked like he had to be 60 or something. I was like, why is he out here with us?
Okay, well, you know what? That's a good sign.
Nigga, no.
I mean, if an old dude will be out there, surely you can trust yourself.
I know, but he's over here talking to me like he knows me. And I'm like, get your filthy hands off of me, old man. I don't know you. Talk about you ready to go, get your hands off me, nigga. Ain't no way. So we get ready, and then they were counting down. Like 3, 2, 1, and then so I'm moving, but I notice he doesn't move, and so I was like, I was like, there's no way, I'm not jumping by myself. And then they had to retell me, they're like, hey Ray, one of y'all has to jump first so that the other one can go, because again we can't both jump because we're gonna collide. And I was like, okay, and so I jumped, and what felt like, because apparently it lasted 15 seconds, but it felt like I was in the air for 5 minutes. Like, I watched myself, like, from how high I jumped, I probably got to here and thought I was like halfway through when I wasn't, and I closed my eyes the rest of the way because, you know, all that wind is coming at your face, so whatever. And they always say, like, whenever you're free falling, besides if you're skydiving, you know, if you've fallen long enough, you're eventually gonna pass out. Yeah. So I just went to close my eyes and was bracing for impact, but I felt like I was bracing for impact for 5 minutes when it really took me 10 seconds. And so I hit that shit, and I guess I kind of, in a way, I did pencil it out, but I guess I slightly had my chest forward a little bit. So when I landed, all the breath in my lungs was gone. And I told them too, I know I swim now, but at the time I wasn't sure about my swimming, especially because I'm diving from a cliff. I don't know. And apparently I can't float. So I was like, hey, I told him, I was like, if I don't come up within 10 seconds, either someone because there's already people in the water, like just in case someone went down. Yeah. I was like, either someone in the water, or if someone wants to voluntarily jump after me, make sure you don't jump in the same spot so that when I come up, you don't hit me. I was like, well, y'all need to come after me or some shit because I don't want to die right here. Right. So yeah, and I did it. And everyone's like, yay, boo boo. And I was like, okay, I did it. So we're fucking going now, right? And they're like, okay. We're like, yeah, we're gonna go. Everyone did it. But like, if anyone else wants to go before we do it, you go ahead. So then, you know, fucking whack jobs kept doing it for like an hour. And then, you know what sucks? Or what's crazy? We went to Whataburger like it didn't even happen. We went to Whataburger in Austin, Texas, and just act like we had a grand old time. And I'm just over here eating my fucking burger like they made me jump off the fucking cliff. Fucking bitches.
Ain't nothing wrong ain't nothing like a good burger.
Yeah, but
jumping off a cliff.
No. No.
Did it hit a little bit differently?
No. Because I didn't want to do it. But yeah,
did you feel in a sense of an accomplishment?
Shut your bitch ass up. No. I mean, I remember I went home and I told my mom, I just like, we were in Walmart and then she was like, she told me, she's like, I'm gonna go play and do skydiving. And I said, oh yeah, you know I jumped off a cliff. She was like, nigga, what? I was like, yeah. She was just like, okay, well, you've done something that I've never done before. And I was like, well, I didn't have a choice. But yeah. But the third thing was, and I'm gonna try to keep it at wraps. Same thing, ultimate frisbee. And after ultimate frisbee, want to go on an adventure. At this point, because of the two things, I was a little bit iffy. I was like, what we finna do now? Like, I already went to scary shit, got me jumping a cliff. I don't know what the fuck I got. One of the leaders, he wasn't our leader, but he was close to our leader. He was like, hey, yo. He's like, we need to have a Bible study. I was like, okay, if we're doing a Bible study, that's fine. And he's like, but we gotta take him to the spot. And I was like, what does nigga mean by the spot? And he's like, and then my leader was like, oh, the spot, that's such a fucking great idea. We taking it to the spot. And I was just like, okay, like, this gotta be a very interesting spot to have a Bible study. Nigga, tell me what a spot was. A cave. A cave. Mind you, it's on someone's property. They told us that it wasn't on someone's property, but we went on someone's house and they told us mid-walking, hey, make sure not to make any noise because the security alarm could go off and that's not such a good thing. But yeah, we're on someone's property in their yard and there's just a metal little cover and they just remove it and there's a hole in the ground that leads down 15 feet. And you're probably like, Ray, did your ass go down that fucking hole? Yes, I did. God. I didn't want to, but same shit. I ain't know nobody. And everybody else in the group was like, fuck it. We just want to do this and then we're getting out. So we go down and it's funny because the cave was relatively short. Like it's not like big. Like once you like walk further and further, it got. But when you first entered, like even me, I was like crouching, and it's funny because we had a dude who was like 7 foot, and he was like just like off, like literally his head was at his knees, but then he walked further, and then he was able to just head up. But no, like the cave was kind of cool till we realized that there was bats, rattlesnakes, and what else was there's some other shit in there, but like we thought it was cool at first, because we saw like I saw like real life what do they call them? They're not like icicles like in caves, but they're called something.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but for all the environmental people, you know what I'm talking about. They're like, I don't know, something, whatever. But it wasn't too bad. But it was just the fact that one, apparently other leaders that we had in the group got there before we did, undressed, hid in the dark where we couldn't see them, and they scared us as soon as we were climbing down the hole. They were making like hog noises, like we're like, hog? Like, what's a hog doing in the cave? And then they just scared us. We're like, hey, yo, that's not cool. Then, like I said, there's bats. So we're like, hey, yo, we're not going anywhere near them. I'm not trying to become the next Batman, nigga. Like, I mean, Batman's cool and all, but I'm literally not trying to get bit by a bat. And then third, we find out there's a rattlesnake in there, which no one wants to mess with the snake of any kind. I don't even fuck with baby snakes, nigga. I know I can crush them like this, but I don't even fuck with baby snakes. Basically, my leader's friend, who's also part of the organization, was like, I want to kill that rattlesnake. Exactly. We're like, you have no point in doing this. What do you gain from this? He's just like, I just want to kill it, and put it up on my wall. Just if I bring a girl over, say I killed a fucking rattlesnake.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. So he gets like 3 rocks, and coincidentally on the 3rd shot, he happens to hit, and he hits it in a way where it hits its neck. And like if I was a snake, like my head is like this, but the other part's like ripped off. So the snake is technically dead, but because its head is still connected to its body, it still rattles. Then to, admire what he done, he picked it up from where he hit it. And he went around the group and
showing it to people.
Showing it. And he came up to me like how close I am to Dre, like, hey, yo, you see this look? Bro, I have like video footage of this. And I was like, nigga, get this shit away from me. Like, ain't no way. Then I was kind of disappointed because there's like 4 other black guys with me, or well, 3, including myself, so 4. He asked us then, hey, does anybody want to hold it? Tell me why 2 other black niggas go and grab the snake. I'm like, I just owned you 2 immediately. Cause ain't no way your mama you gonna go home, your mom like, yeah, I got to hold a rattlesnake that my leader, you know. And he's like, why did you do that? He's like, cause I thought it was cool. Like, no. So, yeah. And so then to wrap this up, one of them tries to trick us by acting like he locked us in the cave. So all of a sudden, with the whole rattlesnake shit going, we heard like a quick. We're like, what the hell? So one of us goes towards the entrance/exit. Shit's covered, and it's like big and metal. I mean, like even like 2 leaders had to like move it, like just for us to get in. So you know, if we're climbing. And it, you know, it's not exactly like a playground where you climb. You know, this is actual rocks, so you have to make sure you climb in correctly, because if not, you go bust your ass. And then trying to push like that didn't work. So yeah, and then the one who did that, he acted as if he was the owner to scare us, talking about he gonna call the police, we're trespassing and shit. Bro, we all started crying like some bitches. I'm over here crying in that cave like, mama, I'm so sorry. If I end up in jail, it's not my fault. They convinced me for a Bible study and I somehow ended up in There was a nigga there on scholarship, bro. He was crying the most. He was like, my scholarship about to be taken away. I ain't gonna do school. Shit. Like, shit. I never even a 7-footer was crying too. Like that was wild. And then they removed the covers and we got your bro. And it's funny how we all went from crying to straight face so quick. Like we all went like, like and we like, nigga, take us home. Like we're not playing no games. And the one dude who killed the rattlesnake, he somehow, I don't know how, because it took everybody 2 hands to climb. He climbed out the cave with the rattlesnake. With the rattlesnake. And was just walking with it with us. Casually. Like, yeah, I killed this shit. And we all just like, good for you, nigga. like really? You really gonna put that on your wall, like saying you killed a rattlesnake? Well, I'm pretty sure he still has that shit by now.
So I'm assuming he did take it home with him.
Yeah, he did. I assume so. Okay. And after that mess, I was like, I gotta get out of here. Clearly. So they had service on campus sometimes, and I never went to service because they had it when I was doing homework. And so like they reached out to me. They're like, "Hey Ray, we saw you're missing from service." I was like, "I'm sorry, I had homework at that time." Like, okay, that's fine. And then they had actual. They like drove to a church every Sunday, and I had got like the cold, like a little cold or whatever. And so I didn't want to spread it to anyone, so I just felt like staying in that day. And so they were outside my dorm. And they're like, hey, Ray, blah, blah, we're ready to go to church. And I was like, hey, guys, y'all can go ahead and go without me. Like, I have a little cold. I don't want to get y'all sick. They're like, nah, we're going to wait for you. They're like, get better and then come out. And what? Like, how you going to force me to rush a cold? Like, you got a cold maybe minimum, 3 days. Maybe minimum 3 days. If you get your immune system right. If it's really bad, if you have a really bad immune system, a cold can last a while for you.
Right.
So I'm like, how I was supposed to fix this within minutes and get ready and go to. I'm like, no, go, like, leave, y'all weirdo. But the only way I was able to get out of it, thankfully, is because my leader, he was a very strong guy, like physically built, and apparently he got referred to by a firefighter or something. They went up to him like, "Hey, yo, you're a big, strong dude. Like, you want to possibly be a firefighter?" And he was conflicted because he had us. He was in charge of us, and firefighters is a big deal. So then he was like, "Fuck it, sure." And by doing that, he didn't get to make those Bible studies with us because again, it's him solely in charge of us. Like no other leader can adopt us because they always had like 6 people to every leader, so they don't want 12 people to a certain leader. So he started reaching out to us. And then that's just kind of how I just didn't respond to anything and whatever. And it's funny because like my junior and senior year, I would go work out at the gym with a friend of mine or something like that. And I remember seeing him, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's gonna come up to me like, hey, Ray, how's it been? You're still in that group or whatever." But like he just like he acknowledged me like by looking at me, but he didn't physically ever say anything. And all the senior year, I saw like the other like leader who had told us about the spot. I saw him all senior year, but thankfully he didn't recognize me. He would like look at me like he knew me, but then he just go on his way. And I was like, thank God I got my ass out. And then it's funny because after that semester, like everyone started to tell me to stay away from that group, and I was like, I was already in that group. Late now. Like it's too late. Like thankfully I got out and shit like that. But yeah, for the guys it was crazy. And then I heard for even the girls, because they did the same. It wasn't like they didn't do crazy shit like take them out like this stuff. But I even heard from the girl story like of another friend of mine. They told the girls like basically, to sum it up, to like if they had a significant other, a boyfriend or something, that their relationship with God needs to be more important than their relationship with their partner. And it should be to the point where they should debate about breaking up with their partner. So they're like, if your partner doesn't believe in God or something, drop them. And some girls are just like, hey, like my man, he's not a Christian per se, but he believes in a religion. Like, I'm fine with that. And they're like, no, he's not in Christianity. Drop his ass. Drop his ass this instant, because you need to make sure your relationship's better. But I don't necessarily agree with that. You could date anyone of any religious preference, but just a Christian doesn't have to solely date a Christian. I know it's kind of odd if a Christian dates an atheist or something, because that's opposite. But it doesn't have to be necessarily the same thing. But yeah, so that's our stories of how you almost got into a cult, and I was completely in a cult because I didn't know. Again, this is just a church room, and mind you, because I didn't want to make my grandma feel, I never told my grandma all this. So my grandma probably still thinks I'm still with this group or something, but I never told her any of this information.
Did she ever ask?
Nope, she did not. But yeah, just stay away from certain groups. And, I mean, there are, don't get me wrong, there are actual religious groups on campus. If you go to college or maybe even high school, who knows, I don't know, that do actually try to, have the right thing. But, just make sure that they're doing what they say they're gonna do, or whatever they're talking about makes sense. Because, if they start talking about some God the Mother shit, or talking about they want to have a Bible study and then take you to some cave or haunted place, then they're not the right place for you, or right group for you at all. But yeah, just Just be careful out there.
I guess also just like don't be so persistent when like asking people to join like your Bible studies, whatever the case may be. Because at the end of the day, when you want somebody to also to become a Christian, no, don't get me wrong, I'm all for like spreading the word of Christ and putting his name out there and converting other people into like Christianity,
But like,
and like living that lifestyle. But yeah, with that being said, it shouldn't be something that shouldn't be forced. It should be something that comes like organically. They have to want to have that desire to lean into that lifestyle and what entails into what being a Christian is about, including like the beliefs and what that means in regards to like your morals and values and the overall lifestyle that what it means to be a Christian. That's at the end of the day, that's if it's something that you want to take seriously, it's a big part of who you are as a person, and that's just generally speaking. So at the end of the day, that's something that that person should have the desire to want to do instead of you trying to force it onto another person.
Exactly. Well said. Well said. I ain't got nothing else to say. So, you got anything else you want to say to the people?
That's my 2 cents.
Oh yeah, like I mean, I couldn't have said it better than how he said it. You know, just be careful, and that doesn't just apply to just any, religious group. That could be for just an honor society that you're in. You know, same thing. Just don't be persistent. If someone doesn't want to join something, don't force them to join it. Just if they, you're like, hey, you want to join my group? You tell them a little 2 cents about it. They be like, no, not today. Just keep on moving. You don't have to be like, hey, no, nigga, no. I need you to join this. Stay down and held captive, nigga. Like they got the holy stick on my ass. Oh, what? No, I meant like not on the ass. Like,
we need to wrap this up. Good.
Okay, I didn't mean it like that. I just I don't even know what I was saying. It's 12 o'clock in the morning. It's whatever. But
we done it.
Yeah, we done it.
All right.
But thank you for watching another episode of this bullshit podcast. I hope you like, subscribe, you learn something from this, and click that notification bell. I don't even know where this shit's at, to be honest with you.
Make sure you subscribe. Like you said, hit the notification bell on the side of it to be informed of whenever our videos drop. Be sure to check out our previous episodes as well as leave topic requests down in the comment section. Would definitely help us out a lot. And yeah, I'm assuming he's doing all that to keep himself up, but
yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see y'all in the next one.